the show is The Way to Go. My name is Alan Bendich. I'm going to be your host. Today we're going to be talking, and Max Bendich, of course, is going to be my guest, my father, Max Bendich. It was suggested by a wonderful person in the studio that maybe we talk about how this show came into being, actually. And initially, this show, The Way to Go, was started by my father-in-law, Norman Liss. And he was in public relations for many years. He had a lot of interests. He was interested in lots of things, and one of them, some was arts, some was music. And the show initially was supposed to be about things, places to go and things to do in the New York metropolitan area. And he had the show maybe for 10 years or 20, who knows, a long time, and then he passed away. And then a couple of years ago, I went to the LMC TV picnic, summer picnic, and I was just thinking about, at the picnic, they had great food, sangria, lots of fun. And I spoke to Eric, the head of the studio, the head of LMC TV, and I just thought, I asked him if it was possible, if, as a resident, in the area, if I could resurrect his show. And he said, great. So then I asked Wendy, my wife, and her brother and sister, if they minded if I resurrected the show. And so I guess for the first 5 episodes, I had people who I worked with.
I know. And
on the 6th episode of The Way to Go was your first episode, Dad. And I mean, how did you feel? I mean, what was was there anxiety, do you think?
No,
or?
Let's go back before that.
Yes.
I knew your father-in-law.
Norman, right?
Norman Liss, from what you told me about him.
Right.
And now that I think about it, again, first of all, life was a hectic schedule. One thing was after the other,
right.
And one of the things that I didn't do, that I had no time, maybe, I don't want to say I had no time, that's very bad, but I never knew your father-in-law. I met him but I never knew anything about him, except what you used to tell me about him,
right.
how interesting a person he was,
right.
And
I'll tell you why. I could tell you why, because you're the type of person, I think, especially when it comes to like in-laws and things like that, that if there's no problems, you don't want to make any problems. So you're the type of person that would rather shake hands, be happy, right. And not delve too deeply, not say the wrong thing. So I think maybe that might be part of the reason why you really, when there were get-togethers, it was more of like a light-hearted chatter rather than a deep conversation.
And
would you agree? Or?
And that's, believe me, a kind of person I am, that is no good. I should have realized that how important a man like this, right. First of all, compared to what I was doing and everything, how important he was, and there should be maybe.
I wouldn't diminish your importance, but I mean, he was an important person. He was a human being. He was my wife's father. He's my kid's grandfather, and he was a very brilliant man. He was a brilliant man and a great host. I mean, the original Way to Go had Pete Seeger as a guest, so that's pretty cool, but it's all those episodes are on tape, so none of them, now everything is digital, and it's this was before YouTube, but so what happens? Like, I'll call you up usually. I guess I called you up to tell you, I thought, okay, why not have you on the show?
All right.
And I remember the first couple of episodes, I was so concerned. The first episode, I thought we were only going to do 2 episodes. I thought we were going to do, just because we do 2 episodes twice a month in the studio of The Way to Go, and I thought we were only going to shoot 2 episodes, so I was really concerned about getting your whole life in 2 half-hour episodes. And it's actually less than a half hour because you have the intro and the credits. So I guess I was rushing. I didn't, we never talked before really like this. So it was like, there was a lot of, like I was rushing you through because I didn't want you, I was concerned that we wouldn't be able to get through your life for 2 episodes. needless to say, it's 25 or 26 episodes later, and we're still talking. So, what was going through your head when, I mean, if you could think about it, or what do you think was going through your head when I first called you up?
The most important thing was, An Alan, and those were only the first few episodes. No,
Right.
Only a few episodes. And now, at that time, I never spoke to you as much in those few episodes. Forget
Right.
about the 20 more.
Right.
As I have spoken to you in those
Since.
few
The first
back
few
and forth,
episodes. Yeah.
back and forth,
Right.
and the laughing, the camaraderie.
It's good stuff.
It was again unbelievable that we kept on talking and finding something new to talk about and something this to talk about.
Well, if you can't talk to your father, who you've known all your life.
Stop them.
No. What I'm saying is, I mean, we both also are hams, right? I mean,
All
we
right.
both like to talk, right?
I'm a ham. You're
Right.
right, Alan. I'm a ham, and
That's
I
it.
love it.
Right, and people love you, and you have a lot to say. I mean, you've been through a lot of things. I mean, when you start, but anyway, what was going through you? I mean, so were you nervous at first?
No, was I nervous? I didn't know I never knew anything like this about it, and you were giving me good direction indirectly. A word and one word could make me talk about 2 or 3
Well,
minutes.
how about this? How about the kicks I used to give you? Forget about the words. But,
and even though those kicks that you gave me, I knew you were kicking me, and I was wondering, why is he doing this? What am I'm doing this wrong?
Yeah.
But Alan, little by little, and
it became natural, right?
it became natural. Alan,
It's like
yeah, the way-
anything in life, right? I mean, it's the more you do something, the more natural it becomes, right? I mean,
Now that you think, and no, this we never said. Mom would have loved it.
I know.
Mom would have loved it. She would have been sitting over here.
She probably wouldn't say a word, but she'd say,
No,
Max, you're nuts, or whatever. Mac, you know.
That's what I want to tell you about.
Yeah.
I'm positive that's what she would be doing.
Right.
Or when she would get me home.
Or she would say something like, "That's not the way it happened, Mac." You know,
Yeah.
she would
Oh,
remember everything, right?
Definitely. Almost every other word I would say, not that way. It's
But it was amazing. Going back to that, you know, just the thought of, I just remember how you two worked together in terms of communicated. Together, you were able to remember stuff, you know. So, but apart, you couldn't remember anything. But I just remember that you would say something, then Mom would remember it a little bit differently, and then more and more we'd get a clearer understanding of actually what the story was. And I missed that part, you know.
No, it's not the idea. I was lucky, Alan, lucky to be having the kind of work that I was doing. The worst work in the world, to be a laundryman. You work like a dog. But I would be in a store, and you come over to me with Mom.
Yeah.
This was when we had the store on 106th Street, and I would be at the Mangle. The Mangle is a big thing, then you iron it, and I would talk with you. And come to think of it, I talked with you a long, long time, telling you the story, and what kind of story. It was always the same story. We would go up, we go for a walk, and we come to a fork in the road.
Yeah, it would be an older guy and a young boy. And who's the little boy? Am I the boy, Daddy? Yeah, that's it.
Alan, indirectly, that could be leading up to what we were doing now.
That's it. It's the same thing.
That's,
And the thing is that your mind is still clear, which is great. And we're still able to. I'm still listening to your stories, and there's still a bunch of crap, but it's still good. It's still good. And,
but it's good.
Right.
Why is it good? It keeps the conversation going.
Right.
I mean, there are no new things, we don't give you a jab, a little thing.
There's also no bad things that are happening. It's good stuff, and it's all good memories, and it's good futures. I mean, so with the shows, I mean, so the other thing is, like, let's say after 6 and 7, which are the first 2 episodes, the way to go is 6 and 7. Then all of a sudden, the next month, we're going to do another 2 episodes. And then you started saying, didn't we talk about everything? You know, so, and every time before we have these shows, what do we talk about? What do you ask?
I don't remember.
What do we ask? You always ask, when I call you up, we're going to, I need you to be
what are we going to talk about?
That's
what you mean. What are we going to talk about?
Right.
And we don't know.
Right.
And we sit down and before you know it, you're giving me a hint. I'm
Right.
giving you a hint. You're right. I didn't understand what you
Right.
meant.
See, but it's like an improv session, actually,
Anyway.
and to a certain extent, because really, I mean, just like in life, unless you really plan it out, like maybe Michael Rosengarten, your grandchild, who planned out his life perfectly, and a lot of times things are almost like improv. You map it out as you go along.
Now, so maybe I'm doing something wrong. In Kitay House, I only did it once. We have improv. Four or five people come who are part of the improv thing. They sit you down and they were talking. All of a sudden they'd say, "Now you go and keep the conversation going. You go and come." I did that, but why I haven't? I'm going to be doing it again. Once a month they come, and they ask who wants to come in and talk about different.
Well,
things.
I would say that one thing, I think you should do it because people pay money for that. I mean, and you're an actor now too, so you've been in a few films, you've done a couple of commercials. So, I mean, improv is something that, I mean, we're doing it now, but it's, but we're playing ourselves. Whereas in an improv situation that you'll be doing at Kitay House, you'll be placed in a situation and,
Right.
and that's it.
And I remember that I was in there only once, and I got them in a fury almost. Why? They talk about something, then they point to me. In other words, continue to talk. But what did I start doing? Instead of talking, I'd sing a song.
Right.
Then they point. After he sings a song, what am I going to say?
What do I say?
No one else. I'll sing a song.
Well, I think maybe, I mean, that's good, but the other thing one thing about improv is that you're supposed to help the person out with the next one, not like stump the person.
Oh no,
That's how improv is supposed to be. You're not supposed to.
They never told. Thank you. That's the first time I've ever.
In other words, when you're improving, what you're trying to do is add to the story and then pass it off to someone in a way that's going to make it better, not pass it over to confuse the person.
But this was a word. In other words,
Right.
once upon a time, this,
Right.
and then he would.
Right.
But all right.
You're supposed to. It's supposed to be like a team. It's supposed to be like a team.
I thought it was, frankly, just the opposite. You want to give him a zing.
I mean, you could do it that way, but I think it works better if you are working together.
Now, once a month they're going to have it. I'm going to definitely be there.
Right.
And
it might help you, And actually, because I mean, for the last month or so, auditions have been like pretty slow. I mean, I remember when we first started your acting, which was about a month or 2 months ago. We were getting like tons of auditions, but I guess maybe because some of them were student films, it was the Christmas holiday or the holiday recess. So I think we have to sharpen up those chops. Your acting.
No, look, Alan, you put me on the right road.
Right.
You definitely, not me. I mean,
Right.
And I liked the way I was going with your direction.
Right.
And I was doing the right thing.
You did great, right.
I was doing the right thing. And little by little, from getting nervous and doing something else, I realized this kind of talk it's also acting.
Right.
And
well, it makes you comfortable, at least in front of cameras, right? And most of the work, I mean, you're not doing any, why don't you have a sip? You're not doing any theater acting at this point, so most of the stuff you're doing is in front of cameras. And even you said, I mean, we would talk about it before you started acting, like when you're doing movies or commercials, they shoot like 1 or 2 minutes at a time. That's
right.
it. That's the longest they shoot. So.
And I started noticing that, and after we did this, I watched television. I watched everything, and then it's, in the morning they have commercials. That's all they have is commercials in the morning,
Right.
and beside the weather and everything else. And I started watching that, and I realized one thing. As they're talking, it's a 1 minute thing.
Right.
That 1 minute though, it lasts a long 1
Right.
minute.
And the thing that I'm interested in is the acting is very important, but what's even more important or equally important is the editing. And because the way they're able to take the voices and the actions and make it continuous, even though they take a piece of it here and they use the voice from a different set, from a different shot, and then, just the way they piece it together to me is fascinating.
I found that out. in that little movie that I'm in.
Right.
Why?
Elapse, you're talking about.
I know, Elapse.
Right.
Elapse on Vimeo.
Right.
And what do they show? I'm without a stop. In other words, we, from childhood to me, it's a continual thing, smooth. But you have another picture, and it shows you how they were directing me to say like this, and they were directing me to do this, and but that wasn't shown. That wasn't shown, and again, so I realized something else. Many of the things that weren't shown, there were more of those.
Oh, right. Well, the thing is, let's put, well, not that it means anything, but I did like 2 30-second commercials, and it took 8 hours to shoot those 2 30-second commercials. So, I mean, so it takes a lot more time to shoot than the 30 seconds that you see on the screen.
But those 30 seconds is a continual to the next 30 seconds. And then
right.
How they do it, I don't even want to know how, because I can't.
Well, we leave that up to Dina in the control room. So she's the one who handles all the editing. Yeah, but it's really, so the other thing is, I really want to thank LMC TV one more time, because really the opportunity, I mean, this is almost like ultimate reality TV. I mean, I'm here with my dad talking about life, and we're going to continue doing it forever. So to me, it's like, and I wish we started 10 years ago, you know?
Well, now you're talking, yes. Why? But again, in Kitay House, look, I'm not, I tell the waitress, I'm not going to be here for dinner. Please make some lunch for me. Where are you going? I'm going to go to the studio, and I'm going to be doing this, and I'm going to be doing that. Now, what do I expect when I say so all of a sudden, I'm 98 and a half. You're 90.
No, you're almost, Daddy, you're 99 almost, in 2 months.
In 2 months, I'm going to be 99.
Right.
But here, I'm getting a new vocation.
Right.
Whoever heard of me? I waited to 98 years.
Well, you wanted to, you know, that's the old joke too, where you know, you have this couple that's been married for 80 years, right? And they go to they go to their attorney and they say, listen, I want to get a divorce. And they say, you've been married 80 years. You know, why did you wait so long? He said, we wanted to wait until the kids died. You know, but it's like it's a stupid joke. But you waited, you know. So.
No, but again, but think of it, and I've been going out like this once upon every week. Sometimes I never stopped, and they were telling me, and they would watch me.
You're saying for the auditions, right?
Yes.
Right.
And they would, but they would watch me on that little, and they like look.
It made them feel good, Daddy.
We kid around about things like that.
No, but it made, you know, the whole thing is when they see a person, you know, of your age or whatever, who's of your experience at an audition, and, you know, some of these are student filmmakers, they're saying, wow, I can't believe that we actually have people who have lived such a long life that are still interested in creating something, to be a part of a creative process. And how wonderful is that, right?
Alan, you don't know, it's wonderful. And before I do anything else, and like I told David one time, David, our son, and the doctor, and I said, David, I feel like, I don't understand, I feel like a kid. And Dad, you are a kid.
It's true.
When he told me, Dad, you're a kid.
Right.
Again, I don't feel old, Alan.
Right. And you know, I think on the sets, when you're doing things, do you feel young? I mean, when I'm on the set, I feel young.
But I have to tell you that it's only lately. But when I took a look at myself on television, and I saw this, all I see is.
But Daddy, okay.
My face. When I saw that,
No, but Daddy, you know, even when you were my age, I remember you used to tell me when you know, because you always felt young. But when you were my age, which is 58, I remember you saying things like, when I look in the mirror, I see an old guy over there. Meanwhile, that's 40 years ago. You know what I mean? So, I think you've always been a young spirit kind of person, you know, and you're always interested in things. And, you know, Alavai. What's the word? You know, like,
Alavai.
no, I mean, you know, like may you always happen like that. You know, it's may it always be like that.
Amen.
That's it.
That's all.
That's it.
And again, it's gonna happen, Alan.
Right, I know. We're going to do it. Actually, we have auditions on Saturday, and it was funny because I submitted your information, and then I submitted mine, and he got back to you, and he got back to me, and so we're going to go together. We're actually going to go one after another, not for the same part, I don't think,
No.
but it's a feature film, and it's exciting, right? I mean,
Everything is, Alan, life is exciting.
right.
And in Kitay House, I'm one of the very few people who, and you know, I kid around with everything.
Right.
And I'm telling people, I mean, there comes a time, I hated to go there, I hated it.
Right.
But there comes a time when you know that at this age, you have to be, someone has to be taking care of you.
Right.
And a place like Kitay House, it's not a commercial, that's where I'm living. So what do they do? They do the laundry. They do the cleaning. They change the linen. You
feed you.
You have 3 meals,
Right.
and they make life livable.
And
for
they
you.
also check on you. I mean, right?
Oh, not only I haven't got it with me.
Right.
Why? Because it's something that you wear, and I've seen that advertised.
Right, like a medical alert thing, or
It's a medical alert.
right.
And every now and then they come over to me. I must have pressed the button or something. Look, I have
Just
to
like
change.
with your cell phone, sometimes I can't hear anything because you've been pressing the volume down.
Oh, yeah, I've been pressing.
I can't hear the phone. I say, well,
I've been
don't press the button.
I've been pressed, Alan.
I know, I
And
know.
I had a computer almost all my life,
Right.
but all I did with it was to play.
Well,
a
not
game.
all your life, because computers didn't.
No,
I mean,
yeah.
computers from like
No, a long time.
for 20 years, right?
A long time, and I never was interested. Oh yeah, in the beginning, I liked sending.
Emails,
You have mail.
right? Emails, right?
Email.
AOL.
Why? They didn't charge you anything. No, really, they didn't charge
Right.
anything. Now, when they started to charge, and they're doing that now for movies, and they're
Right.
doing everything, they only show you a little section. But I found out, you go back to the 30s or to the 40s, there's a list, you know, when these movies.
Of the movies you're talking about.
I'm talking about the movies, full movie,
Right.
full movie.
Oh, you know what I've seen? Actually, my favorite show is, my favorite television show of all, really, that I love watching is Perry Mason, of all things, if you could believe it. And Perry Mason is on every day on MeTV at 10 a.m. But how could I watch it? Because I go to work every day, right? So I looked online, and they have 9 seasons of Perry Mason, every single episode online for free, no commercials. So it's like I get a chance now. So now I don't have to communicate with anybody in my household, and I can watch Perry Mason, you know, as soon as I get home from work until I go to sleep. No, but that's not what I do.
But the most remarkable things invented,
Yes.
I don't understand, is that it looks like the telephone,
Right.
and it's a what am I-
You're talking about the iPhone
yeah,
or the iPad? Or
what's an iPad?
iPad? Well, I mean, the iPads are about this big.
All right.
But Aaron's phone and my phone, is that what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Those are phones. Those are called iPhones.
And it's also
It's also a computer. Right.
and also it's a computer.
Right. You could go on the internet. You could watch movies on it. You could do everything.
Impossible.
You could it has a GPS. It could help you. You know, if you don't have a GPS in your car, you can use it.
Wherever you drive,
Yeah.
Alan, to me, it's impossible. That's
Well,
all.
I guess they didn't have it when you were a kid.
And not only that, it reminds me years ago. The minute a new computer comes out,
It's obsolete.
it's obsolete.
Right. Absolutely.
That's why the minute and they knock themselves out and they buy it and it's expensive. Somebody is really making it. Somebody is.
Well, you know, it's
But
getting.
that's how things were even at that time.
Yeah, but right now, the technology is unbelievable. I mean, it's But I also said that I remember the first computer I got when I came back from California and I went to school and I had to get a computer. It cost $1,700, and it was it was a piece. It was a big computer and it was a piece of crap. I mean, but it was great for the time. And we bought it. You know, we got it. It was a bait and switch in Yonkers, but I needed it to learn Excel. And that was the best thing I ever did because that's how I make my living is through, not Excel, it was Lotus, 1, 2, 3, but spreadsheets. But, you know, and now you can get a phone, you know, if you get like a 2-year plan, you get the phone, which is so much stronger than that computer I had before for $200. And, you know, as long as you get a 2-year plan. And it's great. It's unbelievable.
And
so.
I'm getting to learn that. Little by little,
yeah, but you can't even. You still have to learn how to turn off your phone. No, you turn it off.
No, impossible.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I have the phone. It's only a phone, and I press. I'm picking it up, and I have somebody talking to me. Please, change it again. Do it again. Wait, something else.
Right.
If you, Alan, I press another button. I see myself.
Right.
Because
it's a camera.
I have a
press the
camera.
wrong button.
Alan, I'm looking at myself, and I go over to somebody here. Again, Alan.
I know it's
I'm
the
an
marvels.
I'm an old-fashioned fellow, and I'm glad I'm old-fashioned.
But I do remember one thing when I was a kid, I used to, you know, look at Dick Tracy with the
wristwatch.
With that you could see people, and now they have that. I mean, it's like all the things. When Star Trek, when they had the transmitter or whatever, now they have that. You know, it's a flip phone. It's the same thing.
And the Times, there's a science. There's a science section. Every now and then they're talking. What are they talking about now, Alan? I'm not kidding you. We're going to be obsolete. Robots are going to do this. Robots are going to be doing. They're doing it now, maybe.
But you got to watch out for the Terminator, because you know.
No. Serious. I'm serious. The robots, they direct mail. They direct.
The thing that I'm, you know, again, it's like, it's art imitating life, and now life, you know, imitating art. You know, it's so. I guess if we rely too much on robots, what's going to happen to us?
No, then comes. Let's talk about something that concerns.
Guess what?
Us.
We can't, Pop.
We can't. All
Can
right.
you believe it?
Why
didn't you talk about it earlier?
Well,
What did you want to talk about? So really quick. Not say. What's the topic?
What's going to be the topic where people who haven't got that kind of knowledge,
Right.
they're going to starve to death.
Right. Okay. On that lovely note, folks. Oh, there you are. There's only one thing left to say, Pop. That's a wrap. Good night, folks.